Well, happy Thursday late night, everyone. Got Hope everyone's doing all right. Got my coffee here in my special cup, and you too can have one of those. The merch link should be in the show notes. And I got to get more organized about my merch because I want it to show up in the YouTube videos and so forth too. So, also, those two are okay. Sorry, you guys are gonna have to bear with me just 1 second because Monty won't leave Jupiter alone. Hang on a second here. Yes, exactly right, Brian. Cat fight. Are we live? Yes, we are live, and this is the kind of thing that can happen when we're live. No, I've not yet sent a video of the book house. I'm straightening up one or two more corners, and then I probably have it done within the next few days. So, but thanks for asking, Dave. And you, sir, it's too cold out there for little cats. So, yeah, empty chair. So, who do we got? Brian, Alan, Dave, Darren, and whoever else is watching that hasn't said hello, which you don't have to do. Got a few less viewers than usual, but that's probably because I didn't do a Thursday night last night, and you got to do it regularly for people to remember. But they'll make it up on the other end when they watch the recorded version tomorrow, probably. Oh, we're starting to get a few more. All right, so yeah, as I was saying before the cats rudely interrupted me, you can have one of these if you want. Uh, the merch link should be in the show notes if I've done my job correctly, and I think I have. Thanks, Dave. I am feeling a little bit better. I'm feeling a lot better than yesterday. Yesterday was from hell, this stomach flu that just came back, and you don't need to know all about that, but it wasn't fun. So, so, oh, if you don't know, I'm on Blue Sky now. I need to, I need to add that to my show notes. Let me write that down for each time. Blue Sky show notes from here on out. And and yeah, that's boy, it's a lot like Twitter, except it's nice, you know? So a lot of people seem to be on it, so I thought I would give it another try. Hi, Jupiter. Do you really want to go out in these temperatures? You do? See what I have to deal with. Thanks for putting up with me tonight, guys. Let me take care of Jupiter. I'm sure he won't back in when I'm done, and it's even colder. Hang on. when I'm done, I'll open the door and he'll be like, "Where the hell have you been?" How cold is it? It's not that cold if you're from the Midwest like me, but these Texans, it's pretty cold for them, and it's going to get down to 41 tonight. It's not bad right now. That actually, it's only 51, so Jupiter won't even blink at that. But he's a small cat. I don't want him to be out, when it's 8 degrees above freezing all night. So, yeah, Brian, I don't know about Threads. Threads is it's not really working. And I probably wouldn't go to Blue Sky except, I try to keep getting the word out about the Lovecraft easing stuff. If I was just, on social media for the fun of it, I'd probably be like on Facebook, and that's probably it. As it is, I'm not on Instagram anymore. I quit Twitter almost a year ago. Um, yeah, I'm just not a big social media person. There's two components to social media, if you think about it. Speaking very much in general, there's posting and there's scrolling. So you could think of it as broadcasting and reading your timeline, posting versus reading your timeline. Most people do both, right? I do the posting. I don't actually look at my timeline too much. I try to hit the highlights of close friends and so forth. Uh, and this is in no way judging anyone else who's different, but just for my mental health, it's just I'm not. Uh, I like simplicity. I don't like noise, including mental noise, and it's real easy for social media to turn into uh, uh, a habit that takes a lot of out of your day, or even with some people, an addiction, which I'm very familiar with how addiction works, unfortunately. But that's me. So I'm on Facebook. I'm on Threads. On YouTube, of course, because you probably figured that out since you're watching. But there's a little kind of community slash social media in the comments on YouTube. I can do a post, and it doesn't have to be a video, and I do that sometimes, as you guys are probably aware. But I'm jealous of you guys who are getting snow and freezing temperatures. My my wife and my son are going to New York City for the Thanksgiving holiday. They're going to leave on Tuesday, come back Saturday, and they've never been there before, and they're really, really excited. They're going to meet Danielle's brother and sister-in-law and their daughter, and Danielle's sister is going. So for the family members, the Weedlesbach family members who are left, it's a real big get together, and I'm really happy for Danielle and Logan. So I wish I could go, but it's not in the cards. Dave says, "Are you going to do a Thursday Night Live next week?" At first I thought, no, it's Thanksgiving, and then I thought, well, what else are you doing on Thursday, Mike? Nothing. So yes, Dave, I think I am going to do a Thursday Night Live next Thursday night, Thanksgiving night, and hope some of you guys can make it. And of course, if you can't, I'm sure you can always watch later. Um, what's product placement, Mike? This? You're damn right, it's product placement. Okay, well then count on it, Dave. I'll do it. Uh, good to see you, DeMronzo. Everybody else, of course, but I don't think DeBronzo makes a lot of these live, do you? I am one of us. It was snowing all day today in Chicago today, and it's cold. Well, you guys know I love snow. Danielle and I were talking about big cities in the United States, and we're both from the Midwest. And I said, well, Chicago is the best large city in the United States. And she's like, why? New York is bigger, LA's got Hollywood stuff, and so on and so forth. And I said, because it's in the Midwest, trumps everything, and it's on the lake too. Yeah, Darren says, have you ever thought of posting photos of your scary places and your walks at night? I did a little of that when I had an Instagram, but I haven't done it since then. But you know what? Now that I got Blue Sky, and of course Facebook works, I'm writing this down, Darren. Uh, I can post them on Facebook, and I can post them on Blue Sky. So yeah, I'll start doing that too. I appreciate the suggestions. Um, I'm glad you're getting some rain. So guys, count on a Thanksgiving night episode, okay? If you're stuffed full of turkey and you make it up to this late at night next Thursday night, then just go ahead and count on it, because you know what? It'll probably be good for me too, because I'll be, for the very first time in 30 years, I'll be away from my wife on Thanksgiving. So there you go. Okay, so what do I have to talk about? Well, if you don't know, you want to catch this while you can. Laird Barron's new collection, Not a Speck of Light, is only 99 cents right now on Kindle. I think most of you know that because I've posted about it. But uh, one of Paul's collections, Paul Tremblay's collections yesterday, and it probably still is, 99 cents on Kindle too. Did I say Audible before? I meant Kindle. Um, yeah, Laird's book on Kindle is 99 cents. I think Paul's is $1.99. Growing Things is what I'm talking about. And then I was talking with my friend and co-panelist Mark Rainey earlier tonight, and his novel Blue Devil Island came up, and that's only 99 cents on Kindle right now too. And if you haven't read that, it's set in 1943, and it's a Lovecraftian. You could describe it as a Lovecraftian um, World War II novel. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, DeBronzo's read it. Hey Chaz, if you just joined us, Danielle and Logan are going to be in New York City next week. So, guys, be sure and pick up Blue Devil Island. Mark is one of the nicest guys I know, uh, and he deserves the support. So, and plus, it's a fun read. It really is. Um, I would do that, Chaz, but they are not going to have time. In all seriousness, they're going to be there from just like Tuesday late and they're leaving Saturday, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it's like a last hurrah with, not a last hurrah. That sounded morbid, but with the Weedlespot family that's left, they're doing this huge thing, and they're making a bunch of memories, and I didn't even know if they have time to do all the stuff they want to do. But otherwise, I'm sure they would love to do it, and hope you and I can go to dinner sometime too, which goes for the rest of you. So what did I covered Laird's book. I can cross that off. Covered Blue Devil Island. I remember I picked that up sometime in the mid-aughts when I was on vacation. I picked it up at a bookstore way before I knew Mark. It's Stephen Mark Rainey, by the way, if you're looking Blue Devil Island up. And it was a lot of fun. But I haven't read it since then, so that's been 20 years. So now, Dave, you mentioned doing doing the tour, and I've got a lot of new pictures up since the last one I did a month or two after I moved in here. And um, I've got a Superman poster of the Superman 78 movie with the tagline, "You'll believe that a man can fly." Um, I got a Buffy the Vampire Slayer one up. I've got, you can't see it, I'm looking at it here, a poster of the Man from Earth, and just a bunch of others. But I also have, there were so many comic books that I read as a kid that had a deep effect on me, but two of the ones that had the deepest effect, Alan knows what I'm going to say, are one is a trilogy written by Denny O'Neil, and it was three issues of non-powered superheroes. And issue one was Batman, issue two was Green Arrow, issue three was The Question. And each was a self-contained story, but had an overall uh, story that was very meaningful. And yeah, thanks, Dave. My son got that Superman vinyl for me. Uh, I have not read The Pine Deep by Jonathan, but it's on the eternal TBR list. Anyway, if I'm not going to bore you, I want to go over. Oh, what I did. My point is, what I did was the last 3 pages of the last one, the question, I I blew up, printed, and framed, and I did the same thing with a Phantom Stranger one that I won't bore you with right now. But in 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 this 3 arc series, even if you're not a comic book fan, I think you'll enjoy the story behind this. In 1900, I believe it was, these two Chinese and Japanese, guys are they're locked in some kind of mental combat, and they're absolute masters of the martial arts and so forth. I'm describing this horribly. And after about an hour of this, one of the Japanese soldiers gets sick of it and shoots the Chinese guy. And the the Chinese guy who was locked in battle with him is very upset, and he says, I'll pull it up here. The guy says, "But Captain, you were not fighting." And he says, "Fool, we were locked in the most terrible of struggles. Sooner or later, one of us would have lost concentration, perhaps only for a moment, and then the other would have struck, and there would have been a victor. You have disgraced the Japanese army. You have disgraced the code of Bushido. You have disgraced me." He beheads the guy and says, "Now I must reclaim my honor." And before the guy dies, he asks him to take his place. And 88 years later, that's when this comic book came out, 1988, he's decided that it's time to die. And Lady Shiva, who is probably the fiercest non-powered fighter, most skilled in the DC universe, uh, besides Batman, is a student of his. And she's told him of Batman, she's told him of Green Arrow, and she's told him of the Question. And so the guy's wife in 1900 begged him not to do this, not to stay and and honor the guy, the Chinese guy's life. And he said that he had to, and she said, "Well, at least promise me that, your bones will lie next to mine." And he says, "Yes." And so in the first one, which is the Batman comic, Shiva leaves a message on ye old 1988 internet for Batman, disguised, and to meet her. Doesn't She doesn't say who she is. To meet her and the old guy, the sensei, um, down at the docks in Gotham. And she says to Batman, "We have come from China to give you a gift. This gift is a story, no, a lesson. Listen well, for the teacher is old. He has seen more than 150 winters, and he is very wise." And Batman says, "I'm listening." Now, you guys, if I'm boring you, gotta say this and gotta say so in the show notes, and I will move to another topic. So the guy says, in Southeast Asia, they catch monkeys. They hollow out a gourd, they leave a hole just large enough to put a banana inside. The monkey puts his hand inside the gourd and grasps the banana. He then cannot withdraw his hand because hand and banana together will not fit through the hole. The monkey is trapped because he will not let go, and then he stops talking. Hey, Michael. This comic, the name of it is um, Detective Comics Annual Number 1, 1988, but the trilogy is called, Alan, help me out. Can't remember the name of the trilogy. So Batman says, "This applies to me," and Shiva says, "It must." And Batman says, "It couldn't. I've never met this man before." She says, "But I have spoken of you to him, as have others. That is all he requires to peer into your soul." He says, "No, lady, I'm not trapped. I'm one of the freest men on earth. I'm an expert at getting out of traps. If you haven't any more pointless parables to tell me, I'll be about my business." Yeah, thank you. Fables. Thanks, Alan. She says one more thing. If you decide the sensei's words are of value to you, you are indebted. We will summon you to pay that debt soon. He says, don't hold your breath. I'm going to skip to the end of this particular comic, and Ra's al Ghul's daughter, they've got a history. And at the end, she says to him, "I love you. I believe that you love me." Let me pull it up here. She goes, "There is something I must say to you. I'd be grateful if you would hear me without interrupting." Batman says, "All right." She says, "I love you. I believe you love me. If this is true, our only chance at happiness, for peace, is being together. I offer you all that I am. I will forsake my father. I will live with you wherever you say, under any conditions you choose." Then a moment goes by, and Batman says, "No." And she says, "Why?" He said, "Because I could never forget that you're his daughter, and I would have to stop being who I am." In other words, if Batman's too happy, then he wouldn't want to keep being Batman. Then he's back home and he says, Alfred, put it on the computer network and read it back to me. And Alfred says, to the Mattins people, I owe you the debt. And then Alfred says, how do you want to sign it? And Bruce says, sign it the monkey. So kind of a tearful thing there. But the overall, I'll skip the Green Arrow one. The overall arc to remember is that the Cincy promised his wife so long ago that his bones would lie beside hers. Now, he enlists the help of Batman. He and Shiva enlist the help of Batman, Green Arrow, and the Question to find where she's buried and make this happen. Short version. Well, at a certain point, the Question and Batman, or excuse me, Green Arrow and Batman go home, and the Question handles the rest of the voyage on a ship to where they're going. They're hit by a storm in whatever body of water they are. I think the Atlantic, but I'm not sure. Probably the Pacific, actually, if it's Japan. Uh, but the point is, when they finally get to the grave, in the storm, the Cincy dies. So Shiva and the Question, they make it through, but the Cincy dies. He's swallowed by the waves. And when Shiva and the Question get to the family grave, Shiva says, now these are the 3 pages I have on my wall. Shiva says, there's someone missing. The Question says, what do you mean? Shiva says, the great-grandmother, the woman who was the Osensi's wife, there is an empty space where she should be. The next panels show him just walking away. He gets home and he's thinking to himself, the world was roaring around me, the wind shrieking. This hit me really hard when I was 17, 18. I just really loved it. The world was roaring around me, the wind shrieking, the water pounding and hissing. I can't be sure I heard the old man's voice. I don't know if he really said it. I was once like you. If you live, you will change. And his last words, spoken as he vanished into the maelstrom. Some parables are silent. And then he says to his friend at home, I might have imagined it all. And his friend says, I almost forgot, this came for you while you were away, Federal Express from Gotham. Of course, you know who that's from. No signature, no letterhead, just a brief message. Now, here's where it really hits. He says, read it to me, read it aloud. And his friend Aristotle says, this is quoting Batman's note. I investigated further. The boat carrying the family's goods ran into a storm. The cabinet containing the wife's remains, the Osensi's wife, remains, was swept overboard. It rests at the bottom of the sea. And the point is, the Cincy knew what he was doing the entire time. The storm and him drowning and sinking to the bottom of the ocean, he was keeping his promise that he made to his wife so long ago. And, Aristotle, his friend, says, what does it mean? He goes, I don't know. Says a few things, and it may just mean that there are no failures. But I just thought Denny O'Neil was a hell of a writer. And if you're not a comic book fan like me, I think you can still appreciate the story. And if not, I've just bored you for 15 minutes. So I've been wanting to get that out. I've been wanting to talk about that. All right. Told you guys I was on Blue Sky. Talked about that. Oh, yeah. Kelly's got a new book out too. Kelly Young. Um, Boy, I just had it here too. Da, da, da. Give me a second. I thought I saved that. And I'll just do a new search instead of making you guys wait. Wow, there's more than one KL Young on. Oh, here's the correct one. All right. Anno Carcosa, 1 year under twin suns. Have you seen the yellow sign? Thank you, Alan, for the link. The world is in shambles following an apocalyptic reading of The King in Yellow on live television. Yep, that'll do it. Follow one man over the course of a year as he struggles to keep his sanity on a planet gone mad. From author K.L. Young and illustrator slash animated filmmaker Rob Corliss. So check that out, guys. There's not a Kindle version. It's paperback, $9.99 on Prime. So so check that out. And you know, I hope that this is kind of feels like not just Thursday nights, but Sundays and Tuesdays and the Lovecraft Easing in general. I hope it feels a bit like a oasis for you guys from a world that just seems to be getting crazier and crazier for various reasons. And if so, I'm glad. That's what I want it to be. Um, Appreciate you guys being here, and I hope you guys love listening to this as much as I love doing it. So the Dark Adventure Radio Theater, they've got a new audio drama out. The Temple, H.P. Lovecraft's The Temple short story. Uh, they've created an audio drama version of that. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but when I go to Dark Adventure Radio Theater and all I see is the. In fact, I'm going to give you the link right now. All I see are the. There you go. All I see are the images. I can't find an actual buy link on that. I sent Sean and Andrew an email asking them about it. So if it's just my computer, one of you guys maybe click on it and let me know if it is just me, as I'll try it on my phone or something. I tried it on two browsers, Firefox and Chrome. You know what? I'll bet it's that security function that my son has put up. I'm gonna feel pretty silly having emailed those guys if that's the case. Let's turn that off for a second. Nope, it's not it. Well, that's a relief. All right, somebody pull it up and let me know, please. Hey, you guys know what audio drama fan I am from old time radio up to the most recent stuff, and uh, man, these guys just do an absolute bang up job on all of their audio dramas, and it's a great way to get into the stories of H.P. Lovecraft if you're there it is. That's what it was. It is my I'm gonna have to send them an apology email. Um, lost my train of thought. Oh, it's a great way to if you're not familiar with the stories of H.P. Lovecraft, it's a great way to um, consume them, for lack of a better word. If you're not into Lovecraft's, kind of flowery language, so you can download, you can get the CD, but you can also download it for 12.49. So I'm gonna have to do that. They sent me, I think everything right up to this one, two huge CD collections uh, of all of them, which I'm very grateful for, and I will always promote these guys. So, yes, Alan, good point. Thank you for bringing that up. If you get the CDs, you get physical props like newspaper articles and so forth. Just y- you can probably describe it better than me, Alan, but just various paraphernalia and newspaper articles that um, make it seem even more real. It's just really neat. If you like collecting things like that, then the CDs with the props are definitely the way to go, as opposed to the just downloading the audios. If, on the other hand, you just want to listen to them, then that's a cheaper way to do it. So, yes, as Alan just wrote, period looking documents good for game mastering RPGs. So, all right. Did I bore you guys with the comic book story? It's okay. You won't hurt my feelings if you say yes. Give me a yes or a no. Yeah, good point, Alan. The DC Heroes RPG is on Kickstarter. So if you're a role player kind of person and you like DC Comics, you know, it's too rich for my blood, but pledge to the Kickstarter so you can get that game when it comes out. So now I want to hear. Oh, Dave, don't feel bad. The question, a lot of people haven't heard of the question, but if you want to start, especially if you have DC Universe Infinite, um, you can start with the 1986 series with that brilliant first page of the question watching this bar in the rain, and he's about to go in there and knock some heads together. And then there are several more. You can just go to DC Universe Infinite and in their search, just obviously just type in the question. Uh, and once again, as usual, Alan makes a good point. More people know of the Watchman character based on the question, quoting Alan, which is Rorschach. He's actually based on the question. More insane version of the question, but based on the question. Um, the question also shows up in Justice League Unlimited, the animated series, which I'm due for a rewatch on. That's such a damn good series. Um, but he's a really interesting character. He really is. And I think I mean I love Superman, love Wonder Woman, love the Flash, and but I'm really interested in the non-powered ones too. Another of my favorites is Nightwing. I just think Nightwing is probably the what would you say, Alan? The best-hearted, hero in the DC universe, maybe with the exception of Superman. And that's why they've become such good friends, because they're so much alike. Um, yeah. Nightwing, the Question, of course, Batman and Green Arrow. That middle Green Arrow story in the Fables trilogy is really good too. It just wasn't per se pertinent to the story I wanted to tell tonight. So, oh, did he? Jeffrey Combs voiced the Question? That's cool. There's your Lovecraft link. So, ooh, product placement. DeBronzo, are you still here? Better be. All right, now I want to ask all you guys how you're doing. You don't have to type a book in the side chat if you don't want to, but give me a sentence or two and let me know, hey, what are you going to be doing for Thanksgiving? Are you looking forward to Thanksgiving? Are you dreading it? Or is it you don't care either way? How are you feeling? Just whatever you want to share. Don't share anything you don't want to share, obviously, but oh, good, he left. That means we can talk about him. Thanks, Brian. Yeah, I've told you what I'm not doing for Thanksgiving. Um, maybe I will order Chinese, Alan. So, thank you for telling me he left. I'm gonna give him so much shit tomorrow. Um, Darren says everything is good except back pain. Back pain's a bitch, isn't it, man? I, I, in addition to the normal, in addition to my chronic pain due to the fibro stuff, I've got some problems with the discs in my back. And Darren, it can be really painful, man. I feel for you. I'm sorry. Dave says, prepping for my classes tomorrow, just grading all of next week. Over 800, whoa, 800 students? Remind me, Dave, what do you teach? Alan says, haven't seen my oldest daughter since August. She's coming home. That's great, man. August, that's a long time. That's when the last time I saw you, in August at Necronomicon. I know you told me at the time, but you know how my memory can be sometimes. What's her major? I'm really happy for you. And by the way, Alan, also, how's the new kitten? Hope the new kitten's doing okay. Holy crap, Dave. Classes are 100 to 200 students each. That's amazing. Art appreciation. I never went to college. Actually, I'll tell you guys, I don't even have a high school diploma. But I'm trying to imagine what an art appreciation class is like. I suppose with a good teacher, which I'm sure you are, Dave, it would be a very interesting class. So, yeah, Dave, you're not giving those poor kids any essays, are you? Marianne, welcome. No plans. Only family that lets me attend is my brother's in-laws, but no invite yet. Feel you on the pain. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, you're in the Midwest, where we're from. My wife's from Illinois, Marianne. I'm from Iowa. So, you know what they say about Illinois? It's like Iowa. It's almost as good as Iowa, right? That's what you guys say too, right? Marianne's like, screw you, dude. I'm done. No more Patreon. No, I love Illinois. I love Chicago. I obviously love Iowa. I love Des Moines. So, but yeah, that cold weather's got to be really screwing with your pain levels. I'm sorry to hear that. Um, 2 essays a semester or 2 essays uh, for a shorter time period, Dave. So anyway, yeah, I love getting to know you guys a little bit better. If by the way, if you're watching this later, yeah, the recorded version, feel free to write down in the comments below, and I see each and every one of them, and I try to reply to as many as I can. And by the way, when you comment there, it helps the algorithm, I'm told. So, hey, Hector. Yeah, Alan, Dave, I really think that I would love teaching if my life had gone down that path, but man, just from being a teacher's husband, grading stuff has got to be just a pain in the ass. Boring. Wow. Dave says, I used to teach with someone who did Lovecraft artwork for you, Cliff Cramp. That rings a bell. That's been a long time ago. Yeah, back when I had the magazine going. Yeah. Huh. Hang on, let me check the time, make sure I'm not keeping you guys too late. Yeah, we're getting there, but got a few minutes. Made it longer than most. DeBronzo, if you're watching this later. Um, oh, yeah, Jupiter hopefully will want to come in for good when I'm done here. Um, I he's a tough little guy, but I don't let him stay out all night when it gets down to 40. Danielle and Logan, as always, tell me I'm a softie, but and the other cats do fine, but he's just a little guy. Um, what am I reading? Good question. On John Langan's advice, I bought Our Share of Night, and I'm really enjoying it so far. Um, John was just like, you gotta get it, you gotta get it, you gotta read it. And Paul, same thing. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna spend full price and get Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez. Hope I'm saying that right. And I also got the audiobook with the credit. So I'm working on that, Darren. I am also rereading Cosmos, Carl Sagan, because it's been a couple of decades since I read Cosmos. I try to have a nonfiction one or two going at the same time. Um, what else do I have here? Oh, and I'm reading Angel book, the TV series, one of the books based on that. So light stuff and heavy stuff, you could say. And you don't have to take my word for Our Share of Night. Um, I just person after person has told me that this is a really great book. So you guys should pick that up if you can. Oh, also, when you really love someone, you get this feeling that you want to get up on the rooftops and shout it to the world, right? Um, I try to do I do the digital version of that is like something like this, right? So I got to tell you that on February the 10th of next year, just a few months from now, is Daniela and I our 30th anniversary, not our wedding anniversary, but the anniversary of when we met, and we started dating pretty much immediately, and we got married a year and a half later. So we met February 10th, 1995, and we got married September the 21st in 96. Um, thanks, Darren. And it was, you guys will have to remind me. I won't, I won't tell it tonight because it would take me probably 10 minutes to tell it. But so many things could have gone the other way, and I would have never met Danielle. I mean, a lot of things. It's almost spooky. And it was an Iowa night in February, and it was cold as hell. I mean, below zero, and snowing and all kinds of stuff. And and yeah, I still have the piece of paper right over there. I'm looking at it where she wrote down her phone number when I asked her for it before she left. So, um, what I want to know is, have I told you guys how we met and all the little things that have could have gone wrong? Because if not, I'll tell that like maybe next Thursday night or something. That not that you want to hear all about my love life, but it's a really cool story because it just could have easily not have happened. Twice. Thanks, Dave. Maybe I won't tell it again. My son says I'm like an old grandpa that keeps telling the same jokes and stories all over again and thinks that it's the first time. Thanks, Dave. It is a great story, not just because it's my love story, with my wife, but it's just amazing to me, you know, if this would have zigged instead of zagged, I never would have met her. And there's about 10 things like that happened that night. So, um, yeah, that is one of the things, Dave. Dave says my favorite is that your buddy swapped schedules with you for work. He could have easily said no. I guess I have told that story a few times, Dave, if you're remembering all the details. And maybe it would be, maybe it would be there. It would be easier to ask who has not heard this story, because one person will probably raise their hand, and everybody else will go, "Yeah, yeah, Davis, I've heard it." What else am I reading? Yeah, you should tell it. Oh, that's funny. Hector says my kids say that. I say these are good stories. Now shut up. Oh man. Oh, by the way, Pete's newest collection, The Cthulhu Heresy, is on Kindle Unlimited. Peter Rollick. Uh, so you guys like Lovecraft stuff, and you guys like Pete's work and Pete himself. Um, pick that up. It won't cost you anything if you're on Kindle Unlimited. And what else do I got here? I've got a few books uh, that I picked up for 99 cents or $1.99 in the last couple of weeks that I'm going to get to, but I haven't yet. So 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 yeah. By the way, this book looks really good. I just have the sample on Kindle right now, but it's one of those books I read what it's about, and I've seen a couple of small reviews, and y sometimes I just get a feeling like I do about a movie or books, like this is going to be a good book. I can't articulate why, but this is going to be a good book. And that title is The Last Gifts, excuse me, I need water. My mouth gets right. The Last Gifts of the Universe by, is it August Riley or Riley August? Riley August. The Last Gifts of the Universe by Riley August. And that's all I got for you on that. Other than I just have a really good feeling about it. So if you end up picking it up. Oh, and I picked up The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich by William Shirer, Shirer, that came out in the 60s. And it's on Kindle Unlimited as well. Speaking of a nonfiction book. So you guys got to get up in the morning, and I appreciate you spending. Yeah, it is. It is. And I spent a credit on the audio book too, Dave. It is a long book and it is an old book, but it's still relevant. It is damn. I read it. Oh my gosh. I might have even been a kid when I read it because I was interested. But yeah, that's our circle back to Blue Devil Island by Stephen Mark Rainey, Lovecraftian, Lovecraftian World War II novel. Um, anyway, yeah, you. Thanks for asking, Dave. I will do a um, Thanksgiving next Thursday night um, show at the usual time, 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 Central, 8 Pacific. Last thing I will say, and then I'm going to let you go. Last thing I will say is uh, I'm not, as I don't think any of us are, a fan of the origins of Thanksgiving in the United States because it's quite a bit hypocritical, isn't it? But that said, any chance, any excuse to be grateful and thankful for the good things in your life is a good thing. And that's what the holiday is about these days, to me, anyway. And any chance to get together with friends and family and do the same. I can't do that this year, but I'm going to do it with you guys virtually next Thursday night. And I want you to know that I'm really, really appreciative to have you guys as listeners and friends. I hope that everyone listening in some way considers me their friend because that's how I think of you. And special appreciation since I'm poor. Special appreciation to the Patreons, um, even those just at the $5 a month bottom level. That adds up, and I really, really appreciate it because I know it's a commitment. I mean, you can stop anytime you want, but it still feels like a commitment when you do that for people. And I just want to say thanks for keeping me going. I hate the fact that you need money for things like this. I really do. But the fact is, you guys keep the train on the tracks, as I always say. But forget about the Patreon for a second. I just want to tell you guys I really appreciate all of you, and I'm thankful to have you in my life. And I hope that all of you have a good Thanksgiving until I see you Thanksgiving night. We'll see you on Sunday, and you know, go from there. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. All right. Happy Thanksgiving.